Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
And I'm Aiara.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As usual, free Palestine. Do everything you can to support. And so what media have you been interacting with lately?
I've got a lot. For once, I have a lot. Mostly it's video games, because I got a PSN Plus subscription. So I've been playing a whole bunch of stuff because it's free, you know? Um, so for starters, I've been playing like tons and tons of this one game. It's a survival horror game called Signalis. And it's really fun.
Ooh, yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
of Signalis.
it's been scaring the pants off of me, but I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's really fun. It's just scary. So I've been playing tons of Signalis. I've been playing this Western roguelike called West of Dead. That's really, really fun. And it's like you play like a ranger or like a bounty hunter that's in purgatory, and you're trying to get out, of course, because it's purgatory and purgatory sucks. And it's a cover shooter roguelike. So your guns have infinite ammo, but you have to reload behind cover, otherwise you'll get shot. It's really nice aesthetically too. It's got like this gritty, grim dark um style. Like, they play with the shadows really nicely. It's really fun. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm playing that. I'm playing a lot of Little Big Planet 3, for nostalgia's sake. I'm enjoying it. It's pretty fun. I miss 1 and 2. I miss 1 and 2 dearly, but I've been enjoying it. What else? I've been trying to play Outlast, but I get too scared. Like, uh, me and my girlfriend have been trying to play it together, and we open the game for like 5 minutes and then get too scared and close it. So that's been a thing. But
You know what you need to play?
recently,
It's
what?
the Dead Space remake. Oh
Oh,
wait, is
I
that
would get
only on
way too
next? Oh
scared.
wait, that's on PC though. So
Yeah, I can. Yeah, but I think once I get over Outlast, I can play anything, because like, I started really scared at Signalis, but then like once I got into like the game flow, it was fine. So I think with Outlast, it's like a similar thing. And then I downloaded a whole bunch more games that I haven't gotten to try out yet, including the 2014 Thief Remaster, which I'm hoping will be good because I've never played a Thief game before. I used to like
oh,
the series a lot.
I haven't
Oh,
heard good things. That game is like notoriously known to not be great.
oh, okay. Well, um, I've been. I think, yeah, that's about it.
I don't know. Maybe you'll like it,
Oh,
but I know a lot of people didn't.
and that's fair. Oh, Red Dead Redemption. Also,
The first one?
we got the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing
Yeah.
through the first one right
I'm
now.
playing the second one right now. I was playing last night.
Mm,
I'm gonna get to that actually when I get to my stuff.
okay. Yeah, so we've been very cowboy pilled lately. It's been fun. I haven't booted up my Switch in over a month, and that scares me. But
So what happens when you get a PlayStation? My friend is going through the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, it's crazy because it's like the selection of games is low key way. Oh, Shadow of the Colossus. Also, I haven't gotten to play it yet, but I'm really excited because that's one of my favorite games of all time, and it's nice. I'm excited because they remastered it, so now I finally get to play the remaster.
I assume you had
But yeah,
a PS3 at some point.
yeah, or access to one at least.
Mm,
My aunt had one, and yeah, I would play on hers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I started playing through Space Marine because Space Marine 2 comes out in 2 weeks, or next week actually. It comes out the 9th, I believe. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it before then, but I'm gonna try. Um, and was Astrobot comes out this Friday, which
Oh.
I want to play it. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna play it day one. I probably will. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm not, but um, still playing Persona 3. Uh,
Right.
what was I have? I'm in the fall semester, not the fall semester, but the semester after summer. It's not fall yet, but it's almost
Right.
fall. Um,
Yay,
and
Changing Seasons, the best song in the game.
what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's a good song. I had heard it before because I just be listening
Mhm.
to the soundtrack. Um,
Right.
so when I heard it, I was like, oh, I've heard this song before, but yeah, it's still good. The first time I started playing, I just stopped to listen to it. But then what was I about to say about the song? I'm past the summer. There's 3 major shadows left, and yeah, it's fun so far. It's still fun, you know.
Nice, nice.
Like I said, these games are way too long. Yeah, like I need a game like this, but like half as long. These games are way
Yeah.
too goddamn long. My problem with Persona 3 versus 5, even though 5 has different problems, but 5 Loki we've talked about it before. Well, 5 has the opposite problems where it's a lot more diverse in the like stuff you do as like with your persona and stuff. So it's like it Persona
Right.
5 is overwhelming, whereas this is like
Yeah.
there's not as much to do, so it gets a little tedious and boring for me sometimes. Where I'm like, okay, I'm
It's
tired
very
of
routine based.
Tartarus. Like
Yeah.
Tartarus changes a little bit every now and again, but it's like I'm getting tired of Tartarus. um, yeah, it's gonna be a while before I play Metaphor Fantasia. Because that, but yeah, Red Dead 2. Good God, man! As I'm playing this game, like I said before, I started replaying it because I was watching Tony Stadovici play it, and
Mhm.
I'm a much more meticulous gamer than I used to be. So I'm taking my time, doing as much as I can and stuff. And it's just there was this
Right.
one moment where it was just so serene, and I was just riding, and I was looking at because this Red Dead Redemption 2 is the most beautiful game I've ever played. Even after
Mhm.
after playing Ghost of Tsushima, I had to think to myself if that was the case, which you should play that also actually. Um,
Yeah.
you
Oh, also Bloodborne is on my docket. Like I'm getting into it.
yeah, and yeah, after Ghost of Tsushima came out, I kind of was like, is Ghost of Tsushima prettier? But then I'm replaying Red Dead. I'm like, nah, Ghost of Tsushima is like a close second. But like Red Dead Redemption 2 for me is so pretty. Right now, I'm in like the southern area of the map, getting close
Mhm.
to like this very like Louisiana inspired area, and
Ooh.
the all the dirt is red, and then it
Ooh.
contrasts great with the green grass, and it's just open fields. It's so beautiful. It looks like a
Sounds
it looks
nice.
like a Western painting. There's just this painter I follow on Instagram who draws a bunch of like cowboy and Western stuff, and it looks like one of his paintings. It's such a beautiful game, and
Mm.
it's just so fun to just live in the Wild West. It's real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Redemption is great. I'm glad you're playing those. Those are great. I'm gonna go back and play the first one eventually because the first one, well, the second game is a prequel to the first one, so it'll be
Right.
interesting to play the first one after playing the second one. And I haven't played the first one in a very long time.
Mhm.
What else did I got? Concord that came out. I started playing that.
Cool.
I was hesitant at first. I was like, do I want to pay $40 for this and then also get PlayStation Plus just to play this game? I did it anyway because I was just like, I want to support this game because people
Right.
keep shitting on this game, and I'm like, bruh, PlayStation sucks, okay? But the people who made this game don't deserve this hate. People always throw the hate at the people who don't deserve it. But also,
Right.
there was an article, I can't remember what outlet wrote the article, but it was an article about like how people are so quick to want something to fail. The moment they see something that just maybe doesn't look like something they'll be into, rather than just simply not playing it and not giving it any attention and putting their money where their mouth is, they just talk. They just talk shit and try to get people to dislike the game. It's like, bro, all you have to do to prove your point is simply not give it any
Don't buy the game. Right.
don't buy the game and don't give it any type of advertisement by talking about it. Talking shit about it is completely unnecessary, and it's only going to bring people to want to check it out to see if it's as bad as you say, and then maybe it's not, and then which it
Right.
isn't, and then they might like it. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
I like it. I don't know. I'm just not big in multiplayer games, so for me, every time I play a multiplayer game, I play it for a little bit, and then I drop it and maybe pick it up again every now and again. Hopefully, Marvel Rivals is a little different, but I doubt it. I think Marvel Rivals, I might play it a little bit more frequently than I do other multiplayer games, but probably not
Mhm.
much. And it's free
That's
to play
real.
anyway. But yeah,
Right.
but I'm
No,
excited for Marvel Rivals. We'll get to that later as well.
got you.
Moving on to some movies I've been watching. Watched the first 2
Mm.
Alien movies in anticipation to watch Romulus, which I saw last night. But the plan was I'm watching with a friend who'd never seen it before. Alien,
Mhm.
the very first one, was my very favorite movie of all time. So we were watching through it, but they just had a lot of stuff going on, so we didn't get a chance to watch all of them. We were gonna watch all
Right.
6 Alien movies before
Oh
Romulus, but
wow.
we only got a chance to watch the first 2. Um,
Mhm.
but October's coming up, so I'm probably just gonna watch the rest of my own.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I'll talk about Alien Romulus later. I watched
Mhm.
First Blood, the, the
Mhm.
the first film in the Rambo franchise, and First Blood, man, it's real good. When did the movie come out? Like '82 or something like that. And
Something like that.
well,
Yeah.
first and foremost, apparently you can't watch purchase YouTube movies at a quality higher than 480p anymore on non-Apple
Why?
or Android devices. So this is the problem I had when I was trying to watch Fall Guy, and I ended up having to watch it on my tablet. And I was just like, why is this happening? I did it in TV in my living room and then the TV in my bedroom, and I was like, why is this? What's happening? I thought it was the internet at first, but no. Apparently, if you either need an Android Smart TV, Chromecast, or Apple TV to watch YouTube movies at higher than 480p now, which it wasn't like that before. I was watching movies on YouTube all the time. I was always talking about movies that I was purchasing on YouTube and watching.
You've been watching, yeah.
But now that's done. YouTube is dead to me when it comes to purchasing movies and TV shows. Now it's just going to be Amazon Prime is going to be my default because YouTube sucks.
It feels like YouTube continues to shoot themselves in the foot more and more every day, and it's like you want to kill the platform.
I know a lot of people do watch movies on their laptop and stuff, but bruh, a lot of people also watch them on their TV because that's where you should be watching movies.
Right.
But moving back on the First Blood, so Rambo is a Vietnam War vet who is hassled by the police of a small town and has his PTSD triggered as a result. So he runs off into the woods and starts defending himself using the guerrilla tactics he learned in Vietnam. And his former commander is brought in to help talk him down. And the movie ends in a very heart-wrenching scene of him ranting about how the war affected him and crying in his commander's arms. And I'm like, man, this movie was such a deep movie about how veterans are treated and how messed up the Vietnam War was. And then this franchise just turns into generic action movies that inspire other generic action movies. It's crazy that it started here and then it goes into that. It's kind of similar with the Rocky movies almost.
When you said that, I was like, that doesn't sound like a Rambo movie at all. And I think that's horrible because it's like, I would rather watch that than an actual, what the Rambo franchise has become.
I'm going to watch the other ones and I'm sure they're going to be fun. But it's like, man, what it started as was very interesting about it was still an action movie. But he wasn't trying to kill people. He was just kind of just lost his shit for a moment because the police were just harassing him because they just felt like they just didn't like war vets for whatever reason. And it was. I was
because ACAB.
And police suck. It was a good movie. But the reason I started watching Rambo was because I've been watching a bunch of people not a bunch of people, specifically Kind of Funny Games on YouTube. Their playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3 for the first time. From a couple years back that made me finally play Metal Gear Solid 3 for the first time. So then I was all of that was reminding me of Rambo. So I was like, let me watch First Blood. And Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, heavily Rambo inspired. And it made me think of what would a Rambo game that's inspired by Metal Gear Solid 3 look like? And it I would want it to be a stealth action game that leans heavily on survival, like the movie and the games do. You have to hunt for food and heal your own or cure your own wounds in Metal Gear Solid 3. And it's done in a very gamified way. When you kill an animal, it turns into an item that starts floating in the air. You have to pick it up.
This is very funny.
And you have to go into the menus to heal yourself. But for a Rambo game, I would want it to be kind of similar to the way Red Dead Redemption does its hunting, where you have to kill the animal, skin the animal, and then if you want the carcass, you have to carry it with you and stuff like that. And I would want the healing to not be done in a pause menu, but you have to do it in real time.
In a battle,
and you have to hide from the enemies and heal yourself after you get injured. Otherwise, you'll be losing blood and your health will be going down, or you just won't heal as fast, or your health won't regenerate as fast, stuff like that. Like Metal Gear does a lot of similar stuff to that. That was some of it the systems work fine for what they are, but you can tell they were trying for some big stuff that just was held back by the technology of the time.
But
we'll get to how they can maybe do better with that later on. With Delta. But I also still watching Superman the Animated Series. And was the first episode of season 3 was a Volcana episode. Which renewed my anger in the fact that they used a Flash villain instead of her in my pictures with Superman. I'll never get over it, okay? Until it changes. It turns out There might have been an understandable reason why they did that though. Um,
Mhm.
they might have been they might have just straight up not been able to use Volcana because there's some weird thing between like the old DC animated universe with Batman, Superman, and Justice League and all that, and Static, where
Mhm.
like for a while certain Batman characters weren't able to be used in other cartoons, and I think a similar thing is happening with Superman characters. But
Kind of
even
like a He-Man and She-Ra type
well, that's
situation.
completely different. The rights for those characters are
Ah,
just separated, which sucks. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, they for whatever reason might have not been able to use Volcana, so
Mm.
they decided to make Heatwave, which is still stupid. Like that's like I don't know if Superman has any specific ice villains, but that's like I'm saying, like Superman, one of his ice villains, they couldn't use that character for some reason, so they decided to make it Mister Freeze. That would be stupid. Okay,
Yeah.
that would be ridiculous. Don't why would you do that? It's like if he had a cat character that they couldn't use, so they decided, you know what, let's give him Cheetah. That would be ridiculous. Don't just make a new character. DC cartoons are notorious for making new characters and those characters going off to actually be dope characters in the comics, like Harley Quinn and Livewire, who's in this show. So like, just they could have just made it a new character instead of stealing another character from their character. But I digress. Okay, um, it was a good episode. Volcano was a real fun character. This episode had a lot of some James Bond vibes because Volcano,
Mm.
like I said, she debuted in the show, but hasn't been used much outside of it. I think she appeared in like a few episodes of the Harley Quinn cartoon, but
Mm.
she's a metahuman, which are basically the mutants of the DC world, who was abandoned by her parents to a metahuman orphanage, who then sold her
Oh.
to the government, and
Oh.
she was trained to be an assassin. And once she escapes, she starts stealing to make enough money to live free away from anyone who would use her powers, for their own gain. And yeah,
Which makes sense.
it was a really fun episode. Um,
Ooh.
I did watch another episode after that. I'm trying to remember what happened. Oh, it was a really good episode where Batman he was missing. So Superman went to
Mhm.
Gotham to find him, and ended up having to pretend to be Batman and working alongside Robin. And he did like something super creepy where he can like
Oh.
make his voice sound like other people's voice through he says like precise muscle control because Superman, he has a bunch of stupid powers that you just
Right.
wouldn't think he has, and he was able to make himself sound like Batman, and then he made himself sound like Robin, and Robin had the same response I did and said, "Never do that again." And I was like, Superman, that was creepy as hell. Never make
Yeah.
that was so creepy. He would kill in haunted houses, just be just pretending to
No, for real.
be little girls like in quarters and stuff. It was so creepy. I was like, Superman, why
Diabolical.
would you do this? Okay, you
But
just
it's a
changed
cool
my
power.
it is, but you just changed my perception of you. Why would you do this? But yeah, it was a good episode. Um, moving on to animation. Uh, Studio Trigger is making a Transformers anime. Um,
Oh.
I forgot to dig deeper into this. I don't think it's going to be like a full series. I think it would be
Mhm.
like either a
Like
movie
an
or like a
OVA or
yeah,
something.
or like an OVA or something like that. But it's for the 40th anniversary of Transformers, and this is something a lot of
Ooh.
people have wanted for a while because of course, Trigger is notorious for a lot of their mech anime and just having
Right.
really good robots and the stuff that they make. So naturally, people will want them to do that with Transformers, and I love me some Transformers.
I have
Unfortunately,
high hopes.
I have to wait a while to get the second volume for the Transformers ongoing comic because I'm not gonna buy
Mm.
the because I was like I'm committed to buying the volumes instead of the issues now since I bought the first volume. So now I just gotta wait till
Right.
till like 6 issues come out or story arc is over before the volume comes out. So it's gonna be months. It sucks for me, but it's how it is what it is. But yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah,
And we got Transformers 1 coming out later this month, so yeah, some good Transformers stuff coming out lately. Um,
for sure.
I sent you a trailer for Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim. Um,
You did.
and it's a theatrical released animated Lords of the Ring movie, which is interesting. You think something like this would go straight to streaming, but
Yeah.
a sudden attack by Wolf, a ruthless Dunlending lord, forces Helm Hammerhand, that's a wild name, and his people to
Yeah.
make a daring last stand in the ancient stronghold of the Hornburg. Finding herself in an increasingly desperate situation, Helm's daughter Hera must lead the resistance against a deadly enemy who's intent on total destruction. It is directed by Kenji Kamiyama, who's known for directing Ghost in the
Ooh.
Shell standalone complex, which I have. on DVD and still have yet to start my rewatch of it. Um, but I'm low-key waiting to finish up Vinland Saga before I do that.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And yeah, it releases in theaters December 15th. Like I said, this is something you would expect to go straight to like Netflix or something, but nah, it's gonna be in theaters. I might check this out if I hear good things.
Yeah, same.
Still haven't seen Lord of the Rings movie. They're just long movies. I'm gonna have to find
Yeah,
some
I don't have
time
the
to dedicate to
patience.
them. This is gonna have to be like have to be like a holiday. Like it's gonna have to
Right.
be like Christmas time, and I'm like, okay, time to sit down and watch the
Watch
the
Lord of the
first
Rings.
movie, and I gotta watch the director's cut, and that's like 3.5 hours long. So it's like
Right.
I'm gonna have to watch this shit like a TV show and watching like 30-minute increments
No,
because
for real.
these movies are way
I
too long.
cannot.
It's like
I
One
can barely
Piece.
sit through like a 2 hour movie. Like my attention span is that short. 3 hours? No.
Lord of the Rings is like the One Piece of fantasy, just entertainment.
Yeah.
We got another trailer for Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft, and the animation by the Castlevania and Blood of Zeus studio Powerhouse looks better than anything they've made so far. Honestly, better than Castlevania or
Yeah.
Blood of Zeus. This show looks like it's gonna be really good, and it makes sense. I feel like they're probably getting a lot of money for this from
Oh yeah, for sure.
whoever owns the rights to Lara Croft.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always here for animated adaptation video games, especially if it's from Powerhouse. Which
Oh yeah.
Powerhouse isn't making it, but like Netflix is also doing the Devil May Cry anime, which I'm excited for that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that was the thing that was coming out.
Yeah, Tomb Raider comes out October 10th.
Nice.
Twilight of the Gods. I believe I sent you a trailer for this.
I think so.
Dang,
If not, I've probably seen it in my travels.
I sent you a trailer for something else that I can't remember the name of. Oh wait, no, that was Twilight of the Gods. Or am I tripping?
Oh,
Yeah, that was Twilight of the Gods because I was thinking that was something else, but no, that was Twilight of the Gods. Sigrid, an Iron-Willed warrior, saves Leif, a mortal king who falls in love with her. They both survive Thor's wrath of terror, which embarks them and the crew of Crusaders on a merciless mission for vengeance against all odds. This is created by Zack Snyder, and animated by Zillium Studio, with an art style that is very reminiscent of Genndy Tartakovsky of Samurai Jack fame. And I saw a piece of concept art for Zack Snyder's most recent film, Rebel Moon, that it just looked really good, but it was like drawn very stylized. But the movie itself, of course, is live action. I was like, I feel like Zack Snyder would be better off working in animation where he can truly get across all of his ideas, because I feel like a lot of his ideas will work better in animation, because not like mediocre stories shine in animation because the animation can do a lot of the heavy lifting for mediocre stories. When the story is not that good, like the story is not bad, but the story is like okay, if the animation's really good, people don't care. Okay, I'm gonna use this as an example. It's been around since I watched it, and I also want to read it, and I plan on buying the first volume eventually. But I'm gonna use Akira as an example.
Yeah, no, but you're right though.
Because the story of Akira is not bad. I'm not saying it's not. I can't even necessarily say it's mediocre, but in my memory right now, it's not that good or that memorable. Even though I've seen the movie at least twice. But the animation is so good that I feel like that is what carries that story. I feel like you ask people about the story, they're not going to remember much. But the animation of that movie really carries it. And I feel like Zack Snyder can make stuff on that level if he works with the right studios.
Yeah, when you think of Akira, you don't think of the story. You think of the visuals. You think of the bike slide. You think of the gross body horror aspect of it. Like,
exactly. Yeah, and I feel like he can make some cool stuff. And this Twilight of the Gods looks really cool. The art style looks really fun. Like I said, Emilio, even though he's not writing this, he was just a creator. I don't know if he necessarily wrote it, but like, if he were to like write and direct some animated movies, he'd probably make some good stuff.
For sure.
Some like his a lot of his, like I said, sometimes the stories of his stuff, they'll have like nice visuals. He's a good filmmaker, but it's like his writing isn't the strongest. He's not the best writer.
Yeah.
So a lot of his stuff ends up being boring as a result. But if it was animated, it'd be fire. But speaking of Akira, like I said, I want to read the manga, but like, it's crazy to think that the Akira movie is like only a fraction of that story. And everyone always says like the book is so much better because it just, of course, tells the whole story. And like we said, it's hard. You can barely even remember the story of the movie because it's kind of like it's whatever. But if they were to like, I feel like that is something that a lot of people would think like you shouldn't remake that, but like it was never finished. so they could
Yeah.
remake it and actually finish it in the form of a show, or make multiple movies, like, or just a literal continuation from that first movie would be cool.
Yeah, like something.
If a lot of those
Something so iconic. Yeah.
yeah, if a lot of those animators and writers are still around and still working, then it would be cool if they came back and continue that story. Because yeah, there's a lot. There's a like it's several volumes long of a manga.
Right.
um, but last that I have for animation is Secret Level, which this was shown at Gamescom, which Gamescom happened, which was low key random to me. I feel like Gamescom is the only games convention that I like have no like clock on. Like I have no idea when it happens. It just kind of happens,
Right.
and I forget that it happens. And every year so far
And
that
then
the
it
podcast
happens. Like, whoa.
has been around, it happens, and I'm like, oh no, now we have a lot to talk about because I didn't know this was happening. But they showed this at Gamescom, and it's a show, but it's dope. And it's from the creators of Love, Death, and Robots. And it is essentially an anthology series that will adapt a bunch of different game franchises each episode. And the games featured in the first season will be Armored Core, Concord, which is a weird one we'll talk about later, Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World, Eternum, Pac-Man, PlayStation, just to highlighting various PlayStation studios and titles. Sifu, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 40K, which was like the very first thing they showed in the trailer. Because have you ever seen the Astartes animated short on YouTube? From
I don't think I have.
a Warhammer, just like it was a fan made thing that was eventually bought by I forget the name of the company that owns Warhammer. It was bought by them, and like then taken off of YouTube and put onto their website.
Oh.
Like that's how good it was.
Wow.
And this episode, it looks like it's very reminiscent of Astartes, which is you should watch it. It's just a bunch of space marines killing aliens. Well, actually, I think it's space marines fighting other space marines. It's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds more in line with what I know about Warhammer.
With the Armored Core episode, we learned that there was a shot of Keanu Reeves in it that people thought, oh, it was a Cyberpunk episode. No, that's the Armored Core episode. Where he's going to be in a mech for some reason. We'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
You have the PlayStation episode, which like will highlight multiple different games and franchise, and we see Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima in the trailer, but we also see Kratos. But in the background, he's in a modern city, so people assume it's going to be like some PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale type stuff, which would be cool, and it'd be cool if that resulted in a new game because I think that that game could work. Okay, PlayStation has many great characters. If they made a fighting game like Smash Bros. Again, it would be good because I have PlayStation All-Star Battle Royales on my PlayStation 3. It's not a bad game.
Yeah,
they could easily bring this franchise back and do well, but I digress. But separate from that is Concord, which is the game I was just talking about, which I talked about before how they're trying to do like this very Guardians of the Galaxy inspired story within the world, and there's gonna be an episode on Concord, and I know a lot of people are gonna hate on it, but it will probably actually be good because the characters, they're basic, but they're fun enough. And with some good animation, it could be good. Like I said, animation. Just you make something animated, a mediocre story can still be fun.
It hard carries.
Of course, we got Dungeons and Dragons, which is that makes sense. Right. Crossfire is a weird one because Crossfire is like it's just like a shooter. Like I would understand Call of Duty because Call of Duty they all have like story modes, but like Crossfire, that's a weird one. Spelunky's interesting. I don't know if we.
Spelunky, I think, is the weirdest one to me because it's like. How?
I mean, that sounds fun to me. It's gonna be a person going through caves. Outer Worlds is
definitely gonna be fun. It's just like interesting choice.
Outer Worlds is gonna be a fun one. Unreal Tournament as well for people who don't know. Unreal Tournament is the game that resulted in the engine. The engine was used to make Unreal Tournament, and then they named the engine after the game, or they named the engine after the game as they were making it. And that's that was made by Epic. And yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one. I've only ever really heard about Unreal Tournament. I haven't seen much gameplay of it, honestly.
Me neither.
So I don't know too much about Unreal. Sifu, I'm so excited for that episode. I played Sifu. Sifu was great, and the art style of Sifu is great, and they're translating it perfectly to the show. And the story of Sifu works perfectly for a show because it's a rogue light, which I've come to accept and respect the term light versus like, because light refers to something that's adjacent but not the like exactly
the exact
a
same.
part of that genre versus like
Yeah.
meaning like it's almost meant to be the same type of game. It's a roguelite in a sense that they say it's not, but it is. You die, you start from the beginning again. You get some permanent upgrades. Like it is 100% a roguelite as much as they pretend
Right.
otherwise, but it's not exactly a roguelike. That's the distinction between the two that I've started to accept, which I used to not like it and be like they're the same thing, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
But like yeah, that story because of the way that it works just would work great for like a 30-minute episode of animation.
For sure.
And the one that I was most excited for was Mega Man. Jumped
Yeah.
I literally jumped out of my seat when I saw Mega Man. I was like, is that Mega Man? And then I jumped up and I was like, I can't believe it. I want a Mega Man movie so bad. I need a Mega Man animated movie or show, or well, actually both. I need a movie that then results in a show, like they did with the Ninja Turtles.
Because the last Mega Man animated project we had was garbage in the 90s, and I wish that they would give him a chance to redeem himself.
Yeah. I also grew up watching.
Mega Man has so much show potential.
Yeah, I grew up watching the Battle Network anime.
Right.
When I was a kid, I used to think that was just Mega Man. That like I knew nothing about the original Mega Man. I thought that Battle Network, that is what Mega. Well, I knew about the original, but I thought that Battle Network was an adaptation of that and not an adaptation of a whole different franchise within
like
the Mega Man. Like I didn't know it was an adaptation of a spinoff. I thought that like it was an adaptation of the regular Mega Man, and they just changed the designs. The character designs in Battle Network are great. But yeah, I love Mega Man. I need this. I need this in my life. But also like a big reason Mega Man has so much potential is because it's like it's basically just Astro Boy.
Yeah.
Mega Man is heavily inspired by Astro Boy. Mega Man is just Astro Boy.
Up, yeah.
I think that Mega Man and Astro Boy right now needs to switch places, where Capcom needs to make an Astro Boy game that's heavily inspired by Mega Man, and then they need to make a Mega Man anime that's heavily inspired by Astro Boy.
Right.
That would be really fun.
It would be.
But yeah, this could be the Super Smash Brothers video game adaptations. It'd be real fun, and hopefully some of these episodes are testing bids for like separate series, like for Mega Man. And their respective companies will see this and do something fun. I could see Capcom giving some of their franchises to them, like Street Fighter would be dope.
Ooh, true.
We're already getting a Devil May Cry anime, so I don't know if I don't necessarily need a Devil May Cry episode. But like Resident Evil, at this point, like I want live action Resident Evil to work, but they just keep messing it up, and I don't understand why.
So,
but like
it would
just keep going on with the animated stuff, but make the animated stuff instead of like spin-offs from the stories, like just make it just straight up adaptations of video games.
Right.
Because they do a bunch of animated Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, Resident Evil exists in the public consciousness, like beyond like us gamers and stuff. So it's like it would be fun to see like a Resident Evil actually work, and like it would get more people into the series. It would work twofold.
Yeah, and at this point, they might just have to do animation if live action isn't working. Even though I know live action can work, they just for some reason keep making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And imagine if they did Hades. Even though I know for whatever reason, Supergiant does not want to make a Hades animated series, but like, why?
I don't blame them, right? Because it's like it's very self-contained, and I feel like an animated series for Hades would get out of hand really quickly.
I don't think it would.
Like it become real ambitious to me, and it's like it would kind of lose the plot a little bit about what Hades is and like what it stands for.
I don't think so.
Supergiant and their self-contained story.
Because I don't understand how that could even happen. It's like it being a self-contained story, like it still would be a self-contained story. It would follow the same story. Like they don't need to change the story. Well, the story would need to change in the sense that it's shifting genres, and you'd have to make a roguelike story work in that. But it's like you don't have to significantly change it. He dies, he comes back. Like you go through the House of Hades, you talk to people, you push the plot along, he goes back out there. And in fact, you can add new characters and like some other mythological characters out while he's exploring Tartarus and all that and trying to make his way out. That could be really fun. Yeah, I can see it being real fun and having some like very like not slice of life. There's a very specific genre in my mind that I'm thinking, but I'm thinking like early Bleach, where like every episode was low-key kind of slice of life, and like it was like every episode was something different because every episode would essentially be like a run. So he's always going out there and doing something different. That could be real fun.
Yeah, and like I'm not contesting that. It's just like I'm thinking about it from the way the industry would handle it, and I'm scared for Supergiant because I feel like you know you know how the
Yeah,
industry
but
is.
they're independent, and I feel like their hit writer would have to be on the project. He would have to work on it because
Yeah.
his writing is incredible. Um, and as long as they like I said, they're independent. They find the right studio and find the right
Yeah.
partners. They can make it work. They probably just don't have to go through that, but
Yeah, which I don't blame them for. It's hard.
it would be real good. But like I said, well, actually, I didn't say it. Metal Gear. If they did a Metal Gear episode, Konami at this point, now they're just milking their franchises. So it's like, make a Metal Gear anime series. Go ahead and do it. But this releases December 10th on Amazon Prime. Moving on to comics. Green Arrow number 13. Oliver Queen has become an agent of Amanda Waller. And Roy Harper and the rest of the Green Arrow family want to know why Green Arrow would betray his family and friends and choose to work with Amanda Waller and her deadly plans for the heroes and villains of the DC universe. You know, they're in the middle of a little event that's going to lead into a new era, which sounds really cool. The event is more interesting than I gave it credit for. I'll get to that though. Flash number 10, as the Archangels, which is really damn funny. There's these these like otherworldly beings that are like in a different like dimension that like they instead of being archangels they call them the Archangels, and it's so funny. It's this Flash run has been so wild. They've just been doing a bunch of weird stuff with the Speed Force. It's fun. But as the Archangels bring the Crown of Thorns into the gallery, Wally West has to pull himself together to face some old rogues. Amanda Waller's task force raids Terrific and brings some shocking backup to keep any speedsters in line. And that backup was just straight up Green Arrow and one of Batman, not one of, but Batman's like a mech that he made to fight Justice League a long time ago. That Amanda Waller stole because she stole a bunch of equipment from the Hall of Justice. And yeah, I assume there's a reason Green Arrow's doing all of this, and it will get to it eventually at the end of the story arc. But Birds of Prey number 11, the Birds of Prey's personal failings threaten to turn an adventure into a disadvantage as their search for Barbara continues to be more fight for their lives than search for Oracle. Oh, and there's dinosaurs. What is it? Dinah's sister, Black Canary's little sister, was like they were going through portals, and the portals like take them to a world based off of the user's minds, and her sister has like what's that Greek? It has, I forget the name. I think it's Eris, the Greek god. No, it's not Eris. Eris was in.
I was gonna say
Eris.
She's Strife.
Yeah, no, Eris was.
What aspect is it?
I can't remember the god's name. Oh, I would just have to like look it up and like literally open the comic. But I forget which god it is. Is it Hecate? It might be. No, I don't know, man. It's one of those like witch gods. But
if it's a witch god, it's probably Hecate.
It's not Hecate though. If it was Hecate, I'd remember it was Hecate. Let me just look. Let me see. It was Megara. How could I forget Megara? But how could I forget the mommy herself, the Dami mommy herself?
Call her that.
I mean, she literally is.
Yeah, low key though.
She has her whole design is based off of all three of her sisters' designs are based off of S&M.
Which makes sense. But yeah, her other sister, not Persephone, but the other one whose name I can't remember right now, starts with an A, I think. Listen.
The one with the sharp teeth. Yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get what you mean. But
Electo, that's her name.
Yeah, she was afraid that Megara, like she wasn't sure if it would take from her thoughts or Megara's thoughts, so she just thought of dinosaurs. So he ended up in a world with dinosaurs. That was a hell of a sidetrack. But Superman number 16 and Wonder Woman number 11, Absolute Power tie-in comics, and these tie-ins almost make me want to read the actual event, but just almost. I don't care for crossover events. The tie-ins that are connected to the story I'm reading are really good so far. They're really good, like isolated stories that focus on the characters from that comic and adjacent characters. and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's good enough for me in terms of keeping up the event. I don't care to read the event myself.
Right.
Zatanna Bring Down the House, number 1 and 2, is a new miniseries chronicling the origins of Zatanna. What did I
Oh.
just say? Zatanna, with incredible art by Javier Rodriguez, and it's really good so far. The art, though, the art is so good, but the writing is also great. I forget who's writing it. Let's open the app again and have it.
Oh God.
Now I'm logged in, so it should work. Now this time it's just taking forever to load. Why are you doing this to me?
No.
But
You know what though? You reminded me. I have something to bring up. Film that I've been watching, so I'll save that for 10 minutes.
You said TV and film.
Okay, we did TV and
Oh,
film.
Mariko
already.
Tamaki. No, we didn't.
Oh.
That's right after the comics. But Mariko Tamaki is the writer, and she's written some other things that I've read. I just can't remember what. But going on to Marvel, still reading New Mutants. Third generation of X-Men comics. They're pretty good so far. And I'm excited to get to the point where Magic joins the team. But for a while I was going back and forth between I would read an issue of New Mutants and then I would read an issue of the current ongoing Daredevil. Because after I finished up Chip Zdarsky Daredevil run, I was like, you know what, let me check out the new one. And it's pretty good. Written by Saladin Ahmed, drawn by Aaron Cooter. Matt Murdock is reborn again, but this time he's a priest. And he is, his character's so interesting. Because he's a Christian. His whole thing is he's a Christian. But then he goes out dressed up as the devil at night and beats people up. It's such an interesting dichotomy. It's so fun. Him like, and he's also a slut. Like he's just he like. If you go to comic book Twitter, that's all. When people talk about Daredevil, they always talk about how much he's a slut. He's out there. He's out there. He be in these streets.
He looks like a guy that's out there all the
he
time.
is for the streets. He is for the streets 100%. And everything he does in life is completely against his religion, and it's fun to watch.
Sounds like fun.
But there was this great line. I gotta find it. There was this one great line. Daredevil always has some banger lines about being Daredevil. Let me see if I can find it.
I was gonna say I might have to start reading Daredevil runs because I love slutty men. I'm gonna come out and say it. We don't have enough. We need more. Moving
on to TV and film. Skeleton Crew. We got a trailer for Star Wars Skeleton Crew, and I'm far more interested than I was before. Skeleton Crew tells a coming-of-age story about 4 children who make a discovery on their home planet, get lost in the galaxy, and go on an adventure to get back home. Before, I didn't care at all about this show, but the like Goonies and E.T. vibes is very strong with this, and it pulled me in. We see a Star Wars version of like an American suburb, and that immediately caught my attention. I feel like this is the type of like fresh content that steps into different genres that Star Wars needs. Every time Star Wars does that, it's always for the better. Like Andor is easily the best Star Wars thing made since the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. Every time they step into different genres, it's real fun. They need to just keep doing it. Even if it doesn't end up being for me, it'll be ultimately better for the franchise. We got a trailer for Sonic 3.
Yes.
And it looks good. With every movie, they realize we just want more talking animals and Robotnik. And they deliver just that. Keanu Reeves, he sounds okay as Shadow. He's not bad, but like nothing special. And we see Gerald Robotnik at the very end.
Yes.
And it goes to show that they're learning, but also a lot of decisions they made with the first movie were stupid. Because it shows that I hate my brain. I always forget names. What's the name of that actor that plays Robotnik? Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey. It shows that Jim Carrey can just straight up do a perfect Robotnik impression. He can just straight up do the Eggman voice. He could do the Eggman voice, but instead they just got him to play himself, which still works. But like, if he could actually do the Eggman voice, why wasn't he doing the Eggman voice from the beginning? Every movie they slowly make him more and more like Eggman, but it's like, you should have just started there.
This from the beginning,
But it looks good. I have a feeling we're probably gonna have Rouge in this movie. I think it sucks that I understand they wanted to get the Shadow immediately because Shadow's cool, but
Right.
in my opinion, Shadow should have been saved for like the beginning of a new trilogy, and this movie should have
Mm.
been Metal Sonic and Amy.
Oh, true.
It should have been Sonic and Amy in this movie, and then Shadow in the next movie. But
Right.
instead, we're getting Shadow, and probably not going to get Metal Sonic and Amy till the next movie, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks that we're going to go a whole trilogy of Sonic movies without Amy Rose. Sonic without Amy Rose is strange. Give me my Amy.
Right.
Make her a little less
Not though.
annoying than she was in Sonic X, though.
You know what though? My favorite thing right now revolving around like the Sonic 3 trailer is everyone is waiting for that one scene from Sonic Adventure, and I think that is hilarious.
Oh yeah, that girl's gonna die.
Yeah.
It's up to her.
That girl is gonna die so bad.
You know what's crazy? The same thing happened with Aquaman, the second movie, where like in the comics, Black Manta kills Aquaman's son. So when people saw that Aquaman had a son in the movie, they were like, "Ooh, that baby gonna die!" And everybody was so excited. Everybody was excited for baby murder, and then it didn't happen. Unfortunately, that's weird to say. Unfortunately,
but it's like, yeah, because it's like.
But like that girl, she's gonna die. It's just a matter of whether or not she will get shot.
On screen, also.
And it doesn't need to be on screen. It's not going to be on screen. Why would it be on screen? They wouldn't do that. But it's a matter of whether or not she gets shot, not how it happens. Just if she gets shot.
Yeah, which they probably won't do. But I'm holding out hope. I think it would be funny.
Give Shadow a gun.
Yes.
But also, if they gave Knuckles his own movie that he was barely in, they're definitely going to get. A show. They're definitely going to give Shadow either a movie or a show after this.
Right.
I don't see them not doing it, especially since Keanu Reeves is playing him. And you know what? They could low-key make it John Wick like parody and give Shadow a gun and have him just be John Wick. No, that's what I'm saying. He needs his gun so that it can be John Wick. But also,
right,
since this is based off of Sonic Adventures 2, they better have some of those goddamn Knuckles stage music, bruh. The Knuckles music in Sonic Adventure 2 is it's so good. That was the day everybody knew. It confirmed that Knuckles was black. Because it's funny because at the beginning of every song, the person rapping was like, "Hey, yo, it's Knuckles," and I'm like, "Yep, Knuckles is black."
Yep, that's a black man.
And yo, it's Knuckles back in Pumpkin Hill, and I was like, "Hey, yo, why is this dude who sound like he in a Wu-Tang Clan saying that he's Knuckles?" But yeah, it's
one of us.
And now he's voiced by Idris Elba.
For God's sake, yeah.
So he's confirmed black. But yeah, assuming the movie is just not going to have any humans at all, and they're just going to do what they should have done from the beginning and just make it a fully 3D animated movie.
I hope so.
But last for me. Actually, you know what? You want to say what you want to say before we get to this?
Right. So I've been rewatching El Tigre, all things, recently. That cartoon is still just as good as it was when I was a kid, and I follow the creator on Twitter, which made me want to rewatch it. So I did. And like the fact that the animation is really good. The episodes are super short, but like they wrap up very nicely. It doesn't feel like rushed or anything. But Grey Delisle is carrying the cast. She's like half of the characters in that TV show, and I think that's hilarious.
But
they make it work.
A thing they wouldn't do today with
for sure.
A lot of those characters being like Latinx.
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, Grey Delisle is white.
Yeah. But it's like, it's so unapologetically like based in like the culture and stuff. And I think that's really fun. I would like to see El Tigre come back in some capacity. I've watched Jorge Gutierrez's other like movies and stuff, like Maya and the Three and all the other stuff. I want to see him do more stuff. He's really good. He's a strong writer. He's got a strong like visual style. It still holds up today. Like I want to see more from him.
See, for me, I think Grey Delisle is what Tara Strong should be, because Tara Strong, first off, Tara Strong sucks. For those of you who don't know, Tara Strong, like as a person, sucks so bad. She's like not a good person.
She's like racist. She's all the isms.
Yes, and like it's weird because she is the worst. Like I think she's like either vegan or vegetarian, and she's a stereotype because she's like all these isms She's like this huge bigot, but she's like, oh, don't eat animals. And I'm like, shut up. Shut up, Tara Strong.
And then also she plays
Also,
Twilight Sparkle, so it's like,
yeah, also you're the worst Harley Quinn voice actress. Yeah, I said it. Because she voiced Harley Quinn
ooh.
after the original voice actress, who's easily the best, Arlene Sorkin. Rest in peace.
Mhm.
She just she low key. I keep seeing hair on my keep seeing my beard hairs because they're long and sticking out, and thinking
Oh.
it's like a gnat on my shoulder. But yeah, she is the reason that Harley Quinn is annoying to a lot of people because the way she voices Harley Quinn is very one note, very high pitched, and very annoying Jersey accent. And
Yeah, it's because Tara Strong can only do one voice, and I don't
well,
know why.
she can do a lot of different voices. I'm not gonna give her that. She could do a lot.
Yeah, let me be nice. Yeah, she's good at what she does. It's just like,
She's a
she
bad
sucks
person.
as a person.
Yeah, she's good at what she does, but she's a bad person. And she voices so much
That's
of our
really
childhood.
unfortunate.
But
Right.
Great Delisle, as far as I know, she's pretty cool.
Yeah, Great Delisle's great. And it's like, what do you mean you're Timmy Turner and a bigot? Like, now I'm going to think of Timmy Turner as a bigot for the
See,
life.
that low key fits to me.
Yeah.
Timmy Turner's an asshole.
He is a huge asshole.
But moving on to Alien Romulus. This movie was fantastic. It was the return to the true horror of the original that the franchise desperately needed. This franchise, I feel like, was close to just dying and having Disney not want to do anything with it because Disney owns it now because they own Fox. But Fede Alvarez captured the retro futuristic aesthetic of Alien perfectly with the set and prop design and created an atmosphere very similar to the original. And he even manages to capture some of the essence of the more action-oriented Alien films without completely destroying like the scary ambiance. The basic plot of the movie is that a group of young miners forced to work to earn a way off their sunless planet discover a drifting vessel in the atmosphere and decide to steal its cryo chambers so that they can make the 9-year trip to the closest colony. Yeah, what is it? The like organized like the big like mega corporation of the alien world is called Weyland-Yutani, and essentially their parents were somehow tricked by the government into having to work on this mining planet for a set number of years before they're allowed to leave. They're basically prisoners, and that has passed on down to their children, and all of their parents are dead because they died mining. And now they're stuck there and they're trying to get away. And then they go onto this alien ship. It's not an alien ship; it's a human ship, but it's infected with aliens, and they get murdered. Not all of them, of course, but they all slowly get murdered. Right. It's a good movie.
As is par for the course.
It's such a good movie. So I realized I just wasn't paying attention to trailers because I rewatched the trailer and it was clearer than I thought it was. But I ignored most of the trailers because they started spoiling stuff, so I started ignoring them. And even if they didn't, I would ignore them anyway just to stay fresh because I was like, I'm watching this. Right. After the first trailer, I was like, I'm watching this. But I didn't expect the main character to be who they were. It's this girl named Rain, played by Kaylee Spaney. But the trailers made it seem like Isabella Marcet would be the lead, but she wasn't, and I was very confused. But because when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is the main character." I thought this other character was gonna be the main character. But yeah, this I lost my train of thought for a second there. Like I said, I ignored every trailer after the first. So maybe some of those made it more clear. So this movie had a budget of $80 million and made over $200 million in the box office. And
wow.
Ed O'Kira the first put it best. He said that Alien Romulus budget was $80 million, Prey's budget was $65 million, and Godzilla -1 budget was $50 million, proving that you don't need $1 billion to make blockbusters, just talented filmmakers. First off, I forgot that Godzilla -1 budget was $15 million because the CGI in that movie is so good.
Low.
The CGI in that movie is incredible. And the CGI in Alien Romulus is really good. These movies don't look like they were made for the budget that they were. You don't need to be spending first off, AMC will spend $1 billion just to make a bad movie real fast. They spend that much money to make these movies in an unnecessary amount of time. Whereas these people spend a lot less money and take their time to make something good and actually give the CGI artists enough time to get the job done so that it looks good. throughout the entire movie. There's this one thing
Right.
that I couldn't tell if it was CGI, if it was practical, because they do a lot of practical stuff in this movie. They do the face. Some of the face huggers are like animatronics on top of RC cars, so the animatronics make the legs move, but it's actually moving on the RC. Um, and they're animatronic like fully animatronic xenomorphs, and
Mm.
a new alien that introduced that I got spoiled on slightly. People kept posting pictures of it. Granted, I saw the movie like 3 weeks after it came out, and the director himself posted it, but I was like, stop, why would you do this? But luckily I immediately like clicked the three dots on Twitter and told them to like, don't show me this.
Don't show me this.
And like I didn't like it was be a quick glimpse and I would immediately make it go away, so I didn't get fully spoiled.
Right.
And it was easily the scariest alien in the movie. It looks so creepy.
Was it like super tall?
Yes,
Like,
and it was played by.
That was a real guy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was about to say. That's what I was getting to.
Crazy.
Is that most of it's practical, and that person was a guy in a suit. It was this dude who's 6'7". He's like some German or like some European basketball player. And yeah, it was great, and it was very scary. That was the scariest part of the movie, because Xenomorphs, seen them 1,000 times. The further you get into the franchise, they become fodder. They just get murdered all the time. But like this thing was creepy as hell.
Yeah, and it's like I do appreciate that we're moving back towards practical effects being a thing in cinema, especially because like the first Alien movie, which I'm actually quite fond of, despite being terrified by horror movies. I like the first Alien. It's the only one I've seen. I wanted to go see Romulus. I'm too scared.
You should watch the second one. Second one's a lot more action oriented.
I should probably, yeah. But like the because of Romulus releasing, there's been like a lot more like pictures of the first Alien suits circulating around, and I think about the one person in the xenomorph costume taking a smoke break on the back of the lot.
Yeah,
and it's like I wish we could get back to that, because
there's a really funny picture of the dude in Romulus in the suit, just like with his hip like punked out, like just leaning against something, just chilling, and it's so funny. But yeah, this movie was great. Yeah, this movie looks 10 times better than any $1 billion movie that's been coming out lately with a fraction of the budget.
Sure.
And as a result, they make their money back tenfold because they aren't spending as much money to make it.
Right.
And yeah, this movie was real. It was real good. Like I'm a big proponent of like, I hate how much people shit on CGI because it's not CGI's fault. CGI is good.
Right.
They just are never given enough time to make it look good. That's not to say that we shouldn't also do practical stuff, but they use CGI as a crutch, and then they don't even use it. When they do use it as a crutch, they don't even use it properly. They don't even give people the time necessary to make it work. The people who use CGI just don't know how to use it right. And they use it in places where they don't need to use CGI, and it would be better off if they did it practically.
Right. And it's like, it's not, CGI is not the enemy. It's, and I wish people would see.
Yeah, people keep trying to make it seem like CGI is the enemy when it's really just people misusing it and using it where it isn't necessary.
Right.
But yeah, Alien's Romulus is great. You should watch it, it's a good movie.
I might. If it comes to streaming, I might. Because I know in a theater, like, I would have a heart attack.
Yeah,
that's just...
It'll be on.
It'll
be on Disney Plus eventually.
Yeah, so that's probably how I'll watch it, in a controlled my home environment.
But moving on to video games. Speaking of Alien, we got a trailer for Directive 8020, a Dark Pictures game. So made by Supermassive Games, the Until Dawn creators. The Dark Pictures anthology, Directive 8020, is an upcoming interactive drama and survival horror video game developed and published by Supermassive Games. It is the first game of the second season and the fifth game overall in the Dark Pictures anthology. The game stars Lashonda Lynch as Brianna Young, an astronaut and pilot of a colony ship called Cassiopeia that crash lands on Tau Ceti F, a planet that is 12 light years away after setting out to look for a new home to save humanity due to Earth being in the process of dying. There was a NASA Directive 8027G that was about biological contamination control for outbound and inbound planetary spacecraft. However, the directive expired in June 2022. The game is inspired by Alien, Event Horizon, and John Carpenter's The Thing. Specifically, the thing for the devs have billed Directive 8020 as the thing in deep space.
Ooh.
All of these things also inspired Dead Space. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm excited for this and interested to see how they bring the survival horror into their usual formula of like player choice style games.
for sure. Because I've started to enjoy the survival horror game genre a lot more, so I would play
Oh,
this.
I love me some survival horror. This is coming out sometime in 2025. We got a trailer for Capcom Fighting Collection 2.
I
So
saw.
after Marvel vs. Capcom got its own separate collection, and what they're calling like a series of collections, um, people were expecting more Capcom collections, but specifically they're expecting the Capcom versus SNK to be its own separate fighting collection, and for them to make
Right.
a Capcom 3D fighting collection. But instead, we got both of those things combined into one. Um, we
Nice.
have the Capcom versus SNK games, and was it Power Stone 1 and 2 and Rival Schools, all in, and another game that I can't remember the name of, all in one. So yeah,
Neat package.
everybody's getting what they want, and this still isn't everything. So there might be a 3. Um, so yeah, they're bringing all their games to modern consoles. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm getting that Capcom Fighting Collection when it comes out physically. Um,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, we got a look at gameplay for Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which was that RPG that looked really cool. That turn-based RPG that we
Mhm.
saw at Summer's Game Fest, I think it was a while back. I think it was at the
Yeah.
Xbox Game Showcase. And honestly, my interest has dropped. Uh,
Oh.
so it doesn't look bad. It just isn't
Mhm.
my.
It's not for you.
It's not my
Yeah.
type of turn-based combat. It's the type where you have to like time button presses with stuff, and I'm like, that's too much. If you're gonna do turn based, do turn
Mhm.
based. I don't need all that extra trying to like incorporate some type of real time action by making you time presses to dodge stuff or for your attack to do more damage.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of that. And
Oh, like with action commands, like how the Mario and Luigi series
yeah,
was.
exactly.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that.
Those are my
That's not for
games,
me.
right?
But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake has spoiled me on what the mix of real time and turn based action looks like. So it's like
Mhm.
nothing.
Not for
You either
me.
do that or you make it all action or you make it turn based. There's this
Makes
the
sense.
only in between for me is what Final Fantasy VII does. Um, but yeah, it's I hope it's good. Uh,
I'll probably play it because I love games that play like that. Fond of the Mario and Luigi like RPGs, and they play like that.
hmm.
And also, I always treat them like turn-based RPGs that play like that. I treat them like rhythm games, which makes it extra fun.
Yeah. So Black Ops 6 is coming out soon, and there's a beta ongoing, and we got some trailers and a bunch of information. And this might be the year where I play both Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed again, because
Oh wow!
mostly because Black Ops 6 will be on Game Pass, so I can try it out before
Mhm.
even
But
thinking of
it
purchasing it. Um,
makes sense.
and Zombies have gone back to its roots with traditional round-based levels, and they've added the
Nice.
ability to go into a third-person view, which is interesting.
Oh
I watched some streamers play the beta, and the new Omni movement system makes it look like a completely
mm.
different game. It looks fun, but the skill gap online is
Yeah,
about to get so much bigger with the new intricacies and the movement. But yeah, I'll
yeah.
try it
That's
out.
like I don't know. That's the whole thing that's been like turning me off from Call of Duty. Like I want to like it. I have fond memories of the first couple games, like watching my older cousins play them. But it's like there's so many sweats.
Yeah.
There's so many sweats,
At,
and they make it not fun. Even though I would like to join in on the shenanigans.
yeah. At the very least, I'm gonna play zombies with some friends.
Makes sense.
Um, Baldur's Gate 3 is releasing a virtual tabletop expansion. Where
Yeah.
you can build environments and NPCs as well as use in-game characters to run a virtual D&D game. I've been wondering when they were going to do something like this, and I'm interested. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because I want to play some D&D. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm thinking about it.
I
I'm
DM.
watching videos.
We can like we can make something work. Like I'm DMing a Wild West. That's something I would talk about. Actually, now that I think about it, when it comes to like what media we've been interacting with, because I've been DMing this campaign for a good
Hmm.
10 weeks now.
Yeah,
And it's been fun.
I've been getting more and more interested in it. It started with watching Dimension 20 on YouTube, and
Mm.
what was it? What was the name of that season? I can't remember, but it was one that was revolving like um, like fairy tales and stuff like that. It was real fun. It was horror versions of that. It was supposed to be a horror season, but they're too funny to make it scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them were there's just a bunch of comedians playing D&D, so it was way too funny for them to actually make it scary. But it was, there was some creepy elements. But it was really good. It was Never After. That was the name of the season. It was really good.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested in this. This is fun. But before we get into, you know what, we're gonna do Gamescom first because I want to save this for last. So Gamescom Opening Night Live. We're going to start with Dying Light the Beast. So Dying Light the Beast is a thrilling standalone zombie adventure set in the tightly crafted rural region. Or in a tightly crafted rural region. Plays Kyle Crane, a legendary hero who breaks free after years of brutal experiments. Now he must realize there's more at stake than just revenge. So I hear that this game is only 20 hours. So it sounds my speed. I've always wanted to get into the Dying Light franchise, but the second game started implementing a bunch of like RPG mechanics that turned me off. But maybe this shorter experience could be the parkour zombie action game I'm looking for. Marvel Rivals. We got a new trailer showing off Captain America and Bucky as playable characters, and a release date of December 6th, alongside the announcement that all the characters will be free forever. So they're gonna make the monies off all those skins because the skins are good.
Yeah,
the skins are good, the ones that they have right now. So I'm probably gonna be buying some skins. But yeah, I'm excited for Marvel Rivals. Comes out much sooner than expected. Everybody thought it was gonna come out next year, but it's coming out sooner. When are they gonna add Cyclops? It took them forever to add Captain America. Where's Cyclops? Cyclops is gonna be my main, no matter how good or bad he is. But Lost Records Rage, Bloomin' Rage from Don't Nod, the creators of Life is Strange. Rewind back to the 90s and live the defining summer of 4 high school girls as they forge bonds through their growing friendship, their punk band, and an unexplained event that will forever change their lives. Navigate between dual timelines and shape both narratives in 1995 and 2022, with each offering a piece of the larger puzzle, the life-changing secrets they uncovered back then and why they're reuniting now after all these years. Together in this place, they're forced to try and remember clearly the faithful memories that have eluded them for the past 27 years. It will be released in 2 parts. The first part releasing February 18th and the second March 18th of 2025. I'm super excited for this. We're getting a new Life is Strange with Max returning as a brand new game from and a brand new game from the people that created the characters. So that's cool. We're getting 2 games like this. And we're getting something similar with a different franchise, but we'll get to that. But yeah, the art style in this looks really good. I like it feels like a natural evolution of a Life is Strange art style. With a lot of those like watercolor elements that Life is Strange had. That was really fun. And they took advantage of the fact that they didn't have as big of a budget to kind of just make it super stylized, which was cool.
Yeah.
And this feels like an evolution of that with a bigger budget. But Paths of Exile. We got another trailer for Paths of Exile 2. And this might be my first Diablo style like isometric RPG game. Whenever I find time to play it, because too many games are coming out this fall. We got another look at Dune Awakening, and it actually looks kind of cool for people who are like into base building and survival games, which I'm usually not. But Pale World got me slightly into it. If you made this but Star Wars, I'd be all in. I'll be all in if it was this but Star Wars.
Makes sense.
But what I was referring to earlier with Life is Strange and Bloomin' Rage is similarly Tarsier Studios, the creators of Little Nightmares, is making a new game, while a different team, specifically Supermassive, actually the team that made Until Dawn, are making Little Nightmares 3. We got a trailer for both of those at Opening Night Live, and Little Nightmares 3 didn't show off anything new. It's a co-op game. It takes place in the desert, which it's about time it's a co-op, because the second one had both Six and a new character, but it wasn't co-op. But it makes sense that they finally moving towards co-op.
Yeah.
But this is our first official look at Reanimal, and it looks it has very similar vibes to the first 2 Life is Strange games. And it feels like it's like maybe this was what their idea for the third game would have been if they made it. So like, yeah, it looks cool. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Starfield showed the trailer. Starfield is so weird because it's not good.
Yeah.
But they're like having these updates and like putting all this, they had this like very, I forget the name, it was like this very famous like rap song playing as they showed off a vehicle. They're adding vehicles to this open world space travel game for the first time.
Wow.
Because the game isn't finished, and instead of admitting that it wasn't finished and like releasing it in early access, they released it pretending like the game was done. The game is not finished. This game needs so much more time in the oven, and I hope when it is actually finished, it's good. Like, I don't want to wish on their downfall. I want their game to be good, but like, dog, this game
it's not looking good for y'all.
is not finished. It's not a finished game. But we also got a release date for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It will be releasing December 9th, making Game Pass still worth it for a little bit longer.
Just so many December releases.
Yeah, there's a lot of games coming out this fall. Because what is it? Games coming out this month that I'm going to be playing. Or at least one of them I'll be playing. I'll be playing Astral Battle. I probably won't be playing Space Marine for a while. And then next month, I believe, Life is Strange comes out. And yeah, there's a lot of, and then in November, Assassin's Creed comes out. Man, it's just a lot. It's a lot going on. And then Indiana Jones comes out in December. So I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna have games to play. I'm never gonna be bored. And then the very last thing they showed was a teaser for Mafia: The Old Country, which takes place in 1900 Sicily, early 1900s Sicily, Italy, chronicling the origins of the Mafia. And as a fan of the Godfather 2 video game on PS3, I could see myself liking a new Mafia game. That's a wild sentence, but
insane.
They have very similar gameplay loops from what I understand with taking over territories and like managing your gang. So I feel like I might like this game if it's good. But yeah, that's all I got from Gamescom Opening Night Live. We're gonna wrap up, or I'm gonna wrap up at the very least with what I have with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater previews. I was shaking when I got the notification. I looked at it and I said, "Oh my god, I can't believe it! people have touched it. People have played the game." Which means it's coming out sooner than we think. It's probably coming out early next year. It'd be crazy if it comes out later this year. Every game I'm playing is gonna get dropped immediately. Everything. And
the scene in Toy Story, it's like, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it is what I feared. But my biggest fear wasn't the worst thing in the world. It is more akin to a remaster than a remake, though it is still a remake. It's more of a remaster in the sense that it is mostly unchanged, but it has modern graphics, controls, and like settings. And hopefully tons of accessibility settings, which I don't know if Konami's notorious for that, but they need to start.
I was going to say, they seem pretty good about it from what I can remember.
Like, they're not bad at it, but it's just like, I'm comparing them to like, I've recently, a video popped up on my feed of a blind person playing The Last of Us Part 1 remake, and I'm like, people were mad that that game got remade, but one of the biggest things that like made me go like, the remake was worth it was that all of the incredible like award-winning accessibility features that were in The Last of Us Part 2, they added it to the remake of the first part. So it's like now people who couldn't play the first one or had a hard time playing the first one if they did, can play it much easier because of these like the accessibility settings in that in The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 are incredible. It's like they won awards for it for a reason. And like I gotta realize that is like the cream of the crop, and that is like going like way further than any other game even does. So like maybe I shouldn't be comparing every game to that. Like all games should.
If one game can do it,
all games should. Well, you know, it's harder for indie games to get that stuff done because they have smaller teams and budgets and all that. But like you can't expect all games to do this. But AAA games all of them should be doing this. Like Assassin's Creed does it. Assassin's Creed has a lot of really good accessibility features. So like the bigger studios do it, but all of them should be doing as good as The Last of Us does. But you know, like I said, Konami isn't necessarily known for that, but you know, they should start. But also, you know, like I said, better settings. The map is the exact same as far as they can tell. The enemies follow the same patrol patterns, and they still have the many loading screens in between areas, even though technically it's like not really loading anything.
Right.
So like it's exactly as I predicted. They were afraid of messing up, so they made as little changes as possible. And that's kind of sad to hear. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm still going to play it. I'm still excited. But, like, I would have preferred more changes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Another thing that I said might happen is that it might be similar to the Twin Snakes remake in the sense that they take modern controls and put it in a virtually the exact same map, and therefore make the game way easier. Like they would have to find ways to balance the game,
yeah, that makes
to
sense.
rebalance the game by like either like another thing that it seems like this hasn't changed, which would be unfortunate, is like they haven't upgraded the AI for the NPCs either, which is like like the pinnacle of stealth action gameplay is Metal Gear Solid 5. So it's like if they don't have an AI that is close to that to balance things out with the new gameplay, it's like it's gonna be a bit weird. But you know, at least you'll have a version of the game that's easier to play.
Not too much on me,
because you're struggling with that first game. Which I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But
I refuse to turn the difficulty down though, because that's admitting defeat, and I'm not doing that.
The menus like the Kodak, the Camo Index, and the Survival menu are all updated and easier to access. And like some of them are like on the D-pad now, which is fun. Something I don't like is that the health bar and Camo Index have been removed from the top. The health bar was in the top left. The Camo Index was in the top right, and now they're in the bottom center. And I'm like,
that's not...
brother, ew! Why would you do this?
Yeah.
Hopefully
there's a setting to like move it.
That's what I'm saying. I hope there's a setting to put it back, because there's also this game's interesting. I'm trying to think of like how far I want to jump into discussion I want to have about this. But before I even get there, I just want to say, like, ultimately, I understand why they made this decision. I'm still excited for the game. Right. They're being so faithful because they're afraid of upsetting fans and themselves, because they're also fans and revere the original. You know, it's considered the best in the franchise and like one of the best stealth action games ever made. So they aren't daring to make any significant changes. And you know, my initial disappointment disappeared when I realized that they will have no choice but to make bigger changes from Metal Gear Solid 1, because it's a PlayStation 1 game that had a fixed camera. Right. So, like, honestly, it's genius to start with this game for several reasons. One, is the earliest in the timeline, so it makes sense to start there. And also, it's considered the best in the franchise. So starting with the game that people consider to be the best, and it conveniently is also the earliest in the timeline, is just like perfect for them. But also,
it just all works out.
Another thing that makes it perfect to start as a remake is because it had both. It originally released with a fixed camera, but later on they added an update to have a third-person controllable camera, which is the way I played it. So the game can do both of those things, and they in this game you will be able, because the map is the exact same. They'll do the exact same here, where you will be able to have a fixed camera or a controllable camera. But now that they've set that precedent, I'm going to need the Metal Gear Solid 1 and the Metal Gear Solid 2 remake to have the option to have a fixed camera, so that on my second playthrough or third playthrough, I can go through with the fixed camera.
Right.
And, you know, some people can kind of get a bit of the experience of what it's like to play the old school version of the game if they don't care to play the original. Right. But like I said,
it's not an easy fight, though. I will say, as someone who's playing with the fixed camera right now, I'm fighting for my life, but I'm having fun with it.
Yes,
I think that's the key thing. They make it fun.
Yeah, I'm used to fixed camera games because of God of War, so to me, it's just like, give me that fixed camera for at least one.
I am too, but it's like with like, my thing is with Metal Gear, right? Like the one that I'm playing currently, it's like I'm used to fixed camera games. You know, like that's not the issue. It's just like I can't do the fixed angle and the shooting. I can barely aim as it is.
It's a bit of auto aim.
When you throw the fixed camera into the mix, it's like, oh, okay, we're just nope.
It is a lot. It is trying to do a lot for PlayStation 1 game. But because, you know, Metal Gear Solid 5 holds up perfectly fine, and I don't see them remaking the PSP games before the mainline games. Remaking the original like MSX Metal Gear games would basically be like making a brand new game, which they're afraid to do, clearly. So chronologically, it makes sense that the next game they remake is probably going to be Metal Gear Solid 1. You know, of course, you know, I'm counting my chickens before they hatch, or my eggs before it's chickens before they hatch. That's how the saying goes, right? Yep. I know I'm counting my chickens before they hatch, but this game is probably going to do really well.
For sure.
And then they're going to remake another one, and like logically, it makes sense that they're going to hop straight to Metal Gear Solid 1.
Right.
And by nature of it being a fixed camera game from the PS1, more significant changes will be needed to modernize it. And as a result, it's the remake I'm most excited for, because then they're going to be forced to actually do different things.
Right.
And they do have kind of a base to build off of with the Twin Snakes remake as an example of what to do and also what not to do in a lot of cases, because a lot of people don't like that game. I think it's fun for what it is. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 1 is the most logical next step. But at the same time, I'm the least excited for Metal Gear Solid 4 remake, despite the fact that it's my favorite in the franchise, because it's going to be the one that they have to change the least, because it already plays like a modern game. The only thing they really need to change is that for some reason, a lot of like early to mid PlayStation games had you aim and shoot with the bumpers instead of the triggers. That is going to be the only thing that they really need to change.
Signalis is like that, despite being a modern game, and
but it's also
while
like
it does
trying to be old game.
Yeah, it's like, while it does add tension, I have wasted so much ammo.
I mean, have you checked the settings? You might be able to change it.
You cannot.
That's
I checked.
That's unfortunate.
But it's fun.
Having a modern game and not letting you change that specific setting is, I feel like, kind of stupid.
Yeah.
You should be able to.
Like, for me, it's like a skill issue. It's not. I can't be mad at for it.
But yeah, speaking of Metal Gear Solid 4, it was heavily teased and basically all but confirmed that Metal Gear Solid 4 will be in the Master Collection Volume 2, and that they're just straight up working on Master Collection Volume 2. So that's exciting. And hopefully Twin Snakes is on there as well, because I want to play that version of the game. It's stuck on either. I don't want to emulate it because I know it's going to be on the Volume 2, and I just want to wait for that. And it's otherwise it's stuck on the GameCube, so I want to play that. But yeah, this the MGS franchise could be going in a really promising direction. Especially after they're finished with the remakes. Once they get all these remakes under their belt, I feel like the team will then be prepared and maybe a lot more comfortable making new games in the franchise. The only problem is that they wouldn't have the chaotically weird and iconic and very smart writing of Kojima. But push comes to shove, after they're finished with games, they could go back and either remake some of the PSP games, or specifically Peace Walker, which I think is the only canon PSP game. And then, if they want to wet their teeth on making something almost kind of new, is remaking the original two games with a modern style, which would basically, because they're like isometric 2D stealth games, like some of the earliest stealth games ever made, they would have to be changed. Like, basically, they would have to just make new games,
rebuild them from the
ground
up.
And because the story is also so bare bones, they would have to essentially make a new game, assuming they combine the two and don't make them two separate games. So that would be like, I feel like after they remake all the games that they want to remake, that would be where they should start with making a new game almost. But yeah, I'm excited for this.
It's exciting.
This is a place you could stop playing Metal Gear Solid 1 and start here if you want, since it's a modern game and it's the earliest in the timeline. But and just go back.
I don't know. We'll see.
And play the original whenever you feel like it. But yeah, I'm excited for this. That's all I got for video games. If you don't have anything,
nothing at present. No, not that I can think of.
I'm Dijon. Find my ads above me and Aiara's ad above them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.
See ya.